Next question. Where would you like to travel next? And that question comes from Rhyme Sauce, aka Kyle. I would like to travel to Egypt next. That would be really cool. I've always wanted to go there. I think we're going to have to make that happen next year. What about you?
Well, obviously I want to go to Egypt. That's without a doubt. Somewhere I'd really love to go to would be Peru.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'd like to go to Peru.
Cool. We're trying to work through the countries, aren't we, dear?
Yeah, we've got lots of countries to get to, so it'll be fun.
So on that travel train that we're on, Mike or Goundress asks, how do you get to travel so much? Do either of you work for a travel agency? So no, we don't work for a travel agency. That'd be a really cool perk. How do you travel so much? That's a good question, Mike.
It involves elements of recklessness.
Yep. Debt.
Spontaneity.
Simple answer is we're kind of quite reckless financially, I guess is the truth.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, we kind of put things in motion to do certain trips, and then we'd have to try and afford it. We have to try and make it happen. So we kind of arrange it before we have the money for it, if that makes any sense. We found if we didn't do that, we would end up spending the money on something else because life happens. You either get sick or there's something breaks and you have to repair it. Since 2012 we started doing this, where we were like, where would we like to go next year? And we just try and book it in advance, so we're committed to going. That trip is set in stone regardless. If you wait till you can afford something, it's not going to end up getting around to being able to go. We just book it, and then we find a way, basically, whether it's doing overtime or whether it's just not going out, just eating kind of soup and baked beans for a period of time just to save up some money for the trip. Kind of just do stuff like that.
Also, booking travel about a year in advance actually makes it a lot cheaper.
Plus, we're kind of blessed because we're so close to Europe, so a lot of the trips that we do don't actually cost that much. Like, for example, we went to Nice this year, which you guys will see next year, but we actually did that flight for £30 return. That was £30 per person, so it cost me £30 and Tig £30, so that was really, really cheap, and things like that. Obviously there are bigger trips like the India one, which you couldn't do lots of different things like that because the flight's way too expensive and it does cost a lot. So those kind of trips are more once in a lifetime kind of ones, and hope we can go again, but we don't know that we'd be able to. But a lot of our trips are all kind of around Europe, so they're actually not as expensive. But that's kind of how we do it really. We use the credit card. We don't own our own home or rent really at the moment. We live with my mum and family. We did have our own place, but we had to let it go. So we really don't have many expenditures other than a huge debt that we've got.
We're gradually paying off, so.
Yeah, which is nothing to do with our travels, by the way, the debt. That was to do with something else. We just kind of cut corners in lots of other ways. We don't buy clothes for ourselves really. We don't have a television, for example. We don't have games consoles, stuff like that, which we did used to have years ago when we didn't travel. We don't have kids, so we don't really have any kind of commitments. The money would be going on instead. So if we had our own home, I don't think we could travel like we do, because we'd be paying mortgages and stuff like that. Even though actually paying a mortgage is cheaper than renting.
Yep.
But there'd be other bills if we were homeowners that we don't have currently. Because even though we pay my mum some rent money, it's still not the same as upkeeping a whole house to ourselves.
No, not at all.
So yeah, that's the long answer really. Just dive in and hope we can afford it. It's probably not a good idea, but I look at it like you have one life and spent years trying to save money so we could own our own home, and we never got even close. So we just kind of gave up really. Yeah. And just thought, life is for living, let's just try and do it. Granted, it might be a little bit reckless, but I've had so much ill health over my life, and it's the least important thing. And it's one of the most important things in one way, because without money there's a lot of things you can't do.
Really
Camp
good.
for free.
You can.
It's a weird one, because it does look like, off we go, we're just travelling, we've got loads of money, but reality is we have to make quite a lot of sacrifices to do what we do.
Like even simple things, like for instance, it might be nice to get like a new pair of trainers or something, but instead I'll hold out because that's a huge chunk of money that'll go. And whereas we could be going away for the same amount of money instead.
A lot of my friends have more than like one pair of shoes, whereas me and Tig, we just have the one pair of shoes because we can't afford another pair. And people would often, like my friends are like, but I don't understand, you're going on holiday, how can you not afford some shoes? Well, it's because we're going on holiday that we can't afford some shoes. Yeah. We've chosen to go for the holiday over the shoes because we get more joy out of a holiday. Thank you for your question, Mike. Hopefully we answered it and made some sort of sense. That's where we're at, really. Oh, it'd be cool if we could get paid to go on holidays, wouldn't it?
That would be amazing.
If anybody wants to pay us to go away for trips, just holler at us. There ain't no trip like a Tiggy trip and a KE trip up. And the last question is from Beck, aka Mom's a Witch, and she asks, do you go to midnight mass or do you sleep and go Christmas Day? So we go to midnight mass, have a few drinks when we get home, have a bit of food that my mum's made, and then we exchange a gift each if we've got actual physical gifts that we can exchange. And then Christmas Day is kind of like celebrating and eating a lot and
Yes. It's
and
super
drinking.
indulgent.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your question, Beck.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for your questions. Hope we answered them okay. What did you just do?
So she may, I don't.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.